118, 114. Man, what a weird ending. LeBron and the Lakers taking on the Pelicans. Lakers struggling to keep the ball in play, essentially, in the first half. I mean, literally just struggling to hang on to the thing or put it in the right hands. CJ McCollum, newly acquired, back the other way. Herb Jones, easy lay-in. Pelicans are trying to get into the play-in game. Right now, the Lakers would be in the play-in 7, 8, 9, 10. Look at this. Back and forth. That was kind of a busted play. Malik Monk off of Alvarado trying to break up the throwdown. And then final minute of the first, Westbrook turning it over, stolen by Jones. One of the Lakers' 16 turnovers in the first half, tied for the most in a half by any LeBron team ever, including the postseason teams. Man, third quarter, McCollum laying it in. Lakers coming off that controversial loss to the Clippers on Friday where they were fuming at the officials. John, the only people they were fuming at after this night were themselves. I mean, Ingram just slicing through like no one's there. And Melo can't hang on to the rebound. He's back after a 3-week absence. Well, from there...
Well, he might have.
Lakers lose by 28. Here's CJ McCollum.
We're getting better. We're improving, working on the little things. Obviously, chemistry is coming along. We had some team dinners. We got another team dinner tonight, and I was able to get some practices in, so I have a better understanding of the plays and where guys are going to be at on the court. I'm thankful, man. I'm thankful for the career that I had in Portland, the time I spent there, the organization, the fans, the things I were able to build off the court. Forever grateful and thankful, but now I've moved forward and enjoying my time in New Orleans. Happy to be there. They've accepted me with open arms. The food is tremendous. The people are great, and we're putting together some winning basketball and winning culture with Willie. So I'm excited about the future, and I'm excited to get some more games under my belt so I continue to get more comfortable.
All right, so where do the Lakers go from here? I don't know if we have enough time to answer that question tonight. Oh, man, 3 straight games in L.A., although they're technically on the road against the Clippers at Staples, whatever. And all 3 teams are ahead of them in the standings. Just over 20 games to go. If the Lakers are going to make a move, now would be a good time to start. And it's not inconceivable that if they continue to struggle, they would miss the play.
And when I say he's the GOAT, here's what I mean, right? When you talk about he and Kareem in terms of their 20-year dominance over a sport, and then both of them being able to touch every single aspect of the statistical categories and be leaders in that category. You can't be considered the GOAT and you don't lead in no statistical category. When you talk about Kareem and you talk about LeBron James, that is the conversation in terms of, in my opinion, who's the best to ever do it. Because from a winning percentage standpoint, from a statistical standpoint, from an impact on the game standpoint, any criteria of measurement that you want to use, these two are in the top 5 in almost every single category. Now, when you talk about popularity and the most marketable, Jordan out-trumps everybody with the exception of he and LeBron. Because what he and LeBron have done for all game of basketball, and let me be clear when I say this, Michael Jordan, what he did from a marketing and basketball standpoint for all game of basketball is immeasurable. And we never thought that we would ever see anybody do that again. But what LeBron James has done from a marketing and an impact standpoint in terms of financial dollars coming in, he and Jordan stand alone in terms of improving our game and making it possible that we can have these jobs to talk about them. So we thank Jordan and we thank LeBron, but when it comes to the measurement and the criteria, LeBron James and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar are in categories by themselves.
We've had this discussion before, Isaiah Thomas, and I got to tell you this. Before I go into my position about this publicly against you, of all people, okay, I will ask you this question. Do you have LeBron over Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
Not until he passes him in the scoring title, but as an all-around player, yes. And by the time that LeBron James is finished, see, we're measuring LeBron James now, and he's still in his basketball playing career. But we can safely say that by the time he's done playing, he may have passed Kareem. When he passes Kareem in scoring, you have to anoint him as the GOAT.
Okay. Well, I don't, and I won't. Let me get that out the way first. That's number one. You know where I'm going with this.
Okay.
I'll let you speak. It's my turn now. It's my turn now, Isaiah. Here's the deal. Here's the deal.
Can I hide under the table?
No, you cannot. No, you cannot. Okay. The reason I asked you that question, Isaiah Thomas, here's the reason I asked you that question. Because if numbers are not what we're talking about per se, because if numbers were what we're talking about, then there's nothing to discuss. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 19-time All-Star, 6-time champion, 6-time league MVP. The only individual with one unstoppable move in the history of the sport that still hasn't been figured out. Whenever he could come on the court right now and do sky hooks, and he'd still be better than anybody else trying to do a sky hook right now. And the man's damn near 70 years old. The point that I'm trying to make to you is this: when you look at Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and what he brings to the table, and he's retired as the all-time leading scorer in NBA history, where he still stands, numbers-wise, and you consider his success at UCLA and in a high school Powell Memorial, New York City, all of that other stuff. I mean, just the greatest if you're looking at it from there. But we do have something called the eye test. We can look at it and we see the all-around capabilities that you pointed out about LeBron James. Can't be dismissed. Because Jordan didn't concern himself with doing all the things that LeBron does. Here's where my attitude with you comes into play. Because the road to prosperity that was traveled, I can't believe you diminish it the way that you do. LeBron ain't had to go against there was no semblance of the bad boys. Even the bad boys part 2 with the New York Knicks, with Mason and Oakley and Ewing and all of these brothers before Charles Smith, God bless him, ruined everything by not being able to make a layup on 4 different tries, in a conference finals against the Bulls. Before all of that happened, the New York Knicks was part 2 of the bad boys. Y'all were the original bad boys. You talked about it. You know what y'all brought to the table and what Jordan had to go through. We know what rules were implemented to try to stymie what the hell y'all were doing, for crying out loud. The game, you, the bad boys, are responsible for some of the rules changes that took place. And the way the NBA felt it was a priority to sort of change the complexion and make the game prettier, because y'all were going to an arena as the bad boys, proud of it. We gonna shut you down. We gonna do whatever it takes to beat you. You ain't getting on us. We got The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, and in the damn docuseries, you got John Sally saying we had to get him before he took off, because he wasn't human. He wasn't human. You know, we had to get him before he took off. This is the kind of stuff that was said. And so I'm saying to you, we got a guy like Michael Jordan, who's a 6-time champion, unblemished in NBA Finals appearances. We got LeBron, who's lost 6 NBA Finals. Okay, all of them weren't his fault. Most of them weren't his fault. But some of them he was directly responsible for, or at least a couple of them, especially against Dallas. So we got to look at that. We got to look at the fact that, again, who are you going up against? What era are we playing in, okay? And I look at it from that perspective, and I'm saying to you, Isaiah, of all people, the face of the bad boys. I mean, how could you sit up there and know that LeBron James never had to go through somebody like y'all to get to where he is, still got more finals losses than wins, all right, and sit up there and say he is the GOAT? I know as an all-around talent, I'm not questioning that. That's why I got him number 2 all time on my Mount Rushmore. And by the way, I don't know if you noticed, Zeke, you do know that's an insult to the LeBron James kid, right? I mean, my God, how dare me? In the history of basketball, I only have one player above you in the history of the sport. And the Rich Pauls of the world will act like I'm insulting him, which is ridiculous. The real insult is the fact that you ranked 24th or 27th. I didn't even look. When I didn't see you in the top 20, I didn't want to think about it. It's an insult.